Blackbeard, the fearsome pirate captain, remains shrouded in mystery. His birthplace is debated, with claims of Bristol, England, Jamaica, and even North Carolina. While details of his youth are scarce, we can reconstruct the world that shaped him. Emerging around 1680, Blackbeard lived in England's expanding colonial empire. England, a latecomer to colonization, established settlements in North America and the Caribbean, vying for influence with Spain and Portugal. By the 17th century, colonies dotted the Caribbean, fueled by trade in sugar and tobacco. This was the world Blackbeard would enter. Early 18th century piracy wasn't a single entity. Privateers operated with government backing, attacking rival nations' ships during wartime. They received letters of marque for legitimacy. Blackbeard likely started as a privateer during the War of the Spanish Succession, 1701-1713. These pirates differed from buccaneers, who acted independently and hid in havens like the Caribbean. The war's end in 1713 left many privateers unemployed. Some became legitimate sailors, while others, like Blackbeard, turned to buccaneering. He likely sailed under 𝙎ᴜᴜ, the gentleman pirate, initially serving as a middling officer before taking command. Blackbeard's early pirating years are unclear. He may have worked with Bonnet for a while, or they remained allies. Regardless, his reputation grew. Literacy hints at a potentially affluent background and some education. By the late 1710s, he had become a captain, striking fear into the hearts of those who sailed the Caribbean and American coasts. Although much remains unknown about Blackbeard's early life, his ruthless tactics and fearsome image cemented his place in history. This glimpse into the world he navigated sheds light on the factors that shaped the legend of Blackbeard the pirate. Blackbeard, a name that strikes fear even today, rose to prominence after the War of Spanish Succession, 1701-1714. Like many former privateers, he felt undercompensated by the English government and turned to piracy alongside Benjamin Hornigold. Together, they terrorized the waters of the Carolinas and Bahamas, capturing numerous ships throughout 1717. Blackbeard's reputation grew further when he acquired the Queen Anne's Revenge, a captured French slave ship. This larger vessel became his flagship, replacing the smaller sloops he previously commanded. The fate of the captured slaves remains unclear, with some potentially joining Blackbeard's crew. Blackbeard's winter of 1717 and spring of 1718 were marked by continued plunder. He captured several valuable prizes, including the Great Allen, a large merchant ship. These exploits garnered attention as far as New England, with reports estimating his crew size at over 300. Blackbeard operated within the Alliance of Pirates, a loose network established during the 16th century. This network provided safe havens for pirates across the Atlantic, allowing them to collaborate and target Spanish treasure ships. Unlike Hollywood portrayals, pirate loot rarely consisted of gold or jewels. Instead, they sought valuable commodities like sugar, cotton, and spices that could be resold for high profits. Blackbeard's imposing figure and audacious actions solidified his reputation within the alliance. His signature black beard, described as a frightful meteor, covered much of his face. In battle, he was said to wear pistols and a fur cap, with some tales even suggesting lit matches woven into his beard for a fearsome appearance. While some aspects of Blackbeard's legend were likely exaggerated later, there's no doubt his ruthlessness and imposing presence made him a formidable pirate captain. After a Caribbean winter, Blackbeard set his sights on North America. In a daring move, he blockaded Charleston, South Carolina, a vital port for the tobacco trade. This audacious act, lasting for weeks, highlighted the vulnerability of British colonies. Blackbeard captured ships, including one carrying prominent officials. He demanded ransom, likely due to illness among his crew or a growing opium habit. The governor eventually conceded, releasing captives after a hefty payment. Blackbeard's success was a stark reminder of the growing pirate threat. King George I, newly ascended to the throne, faced pressure to suppress piracy. It disrupted trade and risked diplomatic issues with former allies turned pirates. In 1717, the Act of Grace offered pirates a chance to surrender and keep their loot. This strategy aimed to dismantle piracy quickly and cheaply. The deadline came with a menacing alternative: a bounty on the head of any pirate who refused. Blackbeard now faced a crossroads: accept a pardon or continue his pirating ways and risk everything. His fate became intertwined with two key figures. Charles Eden, the governor of North Carolina, was known for his ties to pirates like Blackbeard. Some sources even suggest he officiated at one of Blackbeard's weddings. The governor likely profited from facilitating pirate activity. Blackbeard, along with other pirates, looked to Eden for potential pardons. Alexander Spotswood, governor of Virginia, stood in stark contrast to Eden. Appointed during the war with France and Spain, he's credited with expanding Virginia westward. Spotswood, determined to quell piracy, would become a key player in Blackbeard's demise. Governor Alexander Spotswood of Virginia was a stickler for the rules, unlike his counterpart in North Carolina. When the British Crown ordered a crackdown on piracy in 1715, Spotswood took it seriously. He offered pirates a generous pardon, but with a strict deadline: September 1718, later extended to 1719. However, there was a catch. The pardon only covered crimes committed before January 5, 1718. This prevented pirates from accepting the pardon and then going on one last plundering spree. Blackbeard, the infamous pirate, learned of the pardon during the winter of 1717. He might have gambled blockading Charleston in May 1718 to secure a final loot before seeking amnesty. Shortly after, his flagship Queen Anne's Revenge ran aground in North Carolina. This forced him to seek a pardon, which Governor Eden of North Carolina readily granted in June 1718. Blackbeard, along with many other pirates, settled in North Carolina, hoping for a peaceful life. However, Blackbeard hadn't considered the meticulous Spotswood. Spotswood saw an opportunity to exploit a loophole in the pardon. The Charleston blockade happened after the January 5th deadline, making Blackbeard ineligible for amnesty for that specific act. Spotswood launched a manhunt, gathering information and assembling a small military force under Lieutenant Robert Maynard. Meanwhile, Blackbeard settled near Bath Creek, even petitioning to become a privateer. Rumors of renewed piracy activity further fueled Spotswood's determination. In August and September 1718, Spotswood's men located Blackbeard and his crew. Maynard, with a reward on his head, led the attack on Blackbeard's hideout in November 1718. A fierce battle ensued, but Blackbeard was ultimately killed and his reign of terror was brought to an end. This story highlights the clash between a pirate seeking a fresh start and a governor upholding the law with a keen eye for detail. Blackbeard's gamble on the pardon backfired, while Spotswood's unwavering pursuit of justice ensured the pirate wouldn't terrorize the seas any longer. Blackbeard, the infamous pirate captain, remains an enigma. Despite his short, violent career, he's become the quintessential image of a buccaneer. In 1718, Lieutenant Robert Maynard, armed with a governor's bounty and 2 ships, set out to capture Blackbeard. An account details the dramatic final battle. Blackbeard, drunk from a tavern night, faced Maynard's superior firepower. A fierce exchange ensued, with Blackbeard nearly winning before being cut down. His head, a grim trophy, served as a warning to other pirates. Blackbeard's reign of terror only lasted 2 years, mirroring most Golden Age pirates who met their demise in the late 1710s. However, his legend grew in the following decades. A 1724 book, possibly by Daniel Defoe, cemented Blackbeard's image as a fearsome pirate captain. The 19th century saw a surge in pirate lore, with works like Treasure Island further solidifying pirate tropes. Blackbeard's image inspired characters like Captain Hook. Today, Blackbeard's legend lives on in movies, TV shows, and even academic studies. The wreck of his ship, the Queen Anne's Revenge, was discovered in the late 1990s, offering a glimpse into his short but impactful career. Blackbeard's story raises a question. Is his reputation inflated by a romanticized past? Or does his reign of terror solidify him as a true legend?